Citizens,
I know.
we're here.
Holy.
I guess that's what we're calling ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Flames Nation citizens.
The citizens. That is all of you guys. And I'm stoked to be here. I hope you guys are stoked to be here too. I'm stoked that Printzy over here is with me. Like, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah, you might have, if you're a Flames Nation fan and you're tuning in, you might recognize my voice. I was on some podcasts previously, but
you're a big shot. Come on.
Yeah, no, I'll admit it. I am a big shot. No, I'm not a big shot. But yeah, we had some podcasts in the past. We brought in some big names. I'm not gonna lie, some big names. So I had to kind of take a little bit of a seat on the sidelines, if you would say, and help
yourself.
Yeah, and help get these shows off the ground. But we're here, Flames Nation citizens. This is Mark, Printz. You're rarely gonna hear people call me by my first name.
Yeah.
Ever. Like, I think that only my wife, my grandfather, and the
Your
Wolverine
mom?
call me by my first name when they're mad at me.
When they're mad at you.
They're mad at me.
Okay, well,
so I get first named.
I'm gonna adopt that kind of rule for you as well. So.
And the listeners tuning in, you're hearing a female voice, and you're wondering, who is that?
The hell is that? Hey,
where have I heard that voice before?
I'm not gonna sing for you, so if that's a hint, I'm not gonna do it.
I had people asking me that know about this, saying, is she gonna sing? But it's Michela Sheedy.
What's up, guys?
She's here with Flames Nation. We're dropping it here right now. Michela has joined Flames Nation, so welcome to the Flames Nation team. Yeah, we're making it official right now.
Oh my gosh,
we're sitting here recording. We're in Marda Loop. We are in the Ooodle Noodle Studios. This is the debut of the Ooodle Noodle Studios. We got one in Calgary, 17th Ave, 12th Street.
Yeah.
Jay, Nation, high up. He brought us there. It is fantastic. So this is the debut of the Ooodle Noodle Studios. We're here. We're in Marda Loop. Same spot as Barn Burner, just in a different room.
We're expanding.
Yeah, we are. That's the biggest thing about this thing. We're expanding. Flames Nation is always expanding, always growing. If you follow along Flames Nation, you've kind of watched it go from, I guess, blogs to some podcasts that were done at home to somehow acquiring the morning show from Fan 960, which led us to leaving our basements to a full-on studio office space in Marda Loop. And this place is fantastic. But like I said, we're here. Flames Nation citizens. I guess citizens was a thing maybe back in the day. Like, you see these guys walking around with the Nation citizen hats. Even the Oilers guys call themselves Nation citizens. But I thought it was a good thing.
We're expanding the family, expanding the studio, and I'm very happy to be a part of this expansion. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with this show. It's going to be different than other stuff that you guys have heard through Flames Nation, but it's going to be a fucking blast. It's going to be a blast, I promise you.
We don't have a swear jar yet, but she dropped the first one. So
whoops!
It's not like it was the first Barn Burner show where our good friend Pinder, he dropped the C-bomb on the show. So
my God.
We're not going to do that. We are not going to do that.
We can keep it kind of locked in and dialed in. I mean, but no, I'm excited to get into what this show is going to be and what you guys can expect to hear from us through Flames Nation. I think it's going to be a bit of a wild ride, so buckle up, hang on. It'll be it'll be interesting to start. I'm getting my feet wet in the podcast world, but we're going to have some amazing guests on here. We are going to just, shoot the shit about anything and everything.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing that we want to make very clear with the show. We absolutely will have a Flames element. I'm always going to want to be asking you Flames questions because, to be perfectly honest, you're at the arena more than I am.
I am literally living at the Saddle Dome. Yeah. They might as well give me a cot in a back room.
Yeah.
So, there's definitely, we're going to talk a lot about hockey, a lot about Saddle Dome experiences. So I think that it's a good way to open the show to kind of open it up to you guys too. Like, if you have stories, if you want to tell your crazy dome foam party stories, I want to hear it. Shoot us a message, tweet, whatever your preferred mode of communication is. We're here. We're always watching. And it's going to be a big, happy family. And
that's actually a good idea. I would love to have people send us in stuff, just some of the craziest stuff that's ever happened to them while at the Saddle Dome.
And I got some stories.
Yeah, so do I. We don't want to unload them all on the first introduction show. No. But that's actually kind of a good leeway into what the show is all about. As much as we'd like to really dive deep into the analytics of the roster and stuff like that, like with Flames Nation, we're so broad that we've got guys that are covering that already. Yeah. If you want, we got a basically a morning show that runs 5 days a week. We've got Ryan Pike, we've got Pat Steinberg. we got more people that are coming aside from us that I can't say much about, but we're gonna look at different stuff. Like I said, let's look at the bowels of the Saddle Dome. Let's find out how you became a fan, that kind of stuff. Like we'll look at different avenues for that kind of stuff. But I do love that idea of people sharing their dome stories with us, because like I got a couple of funny ones too, but we'll save them for later because we're just starting here too. So
I even saw the other day on Instagram something rolled by about the guy who decided to go streaking at the dome.
Yeah, I did
really
see
funny.
that too. I did see that too. I think it was on Twitter. Yeah, it was the Heat Daddy that put it out there. It was like he put it on a tweet. It's like, it's this kind of day. The guy that jumped over. I do remember that I remember that as a kid.
I don't remember that.
No, I do really remember that, the guy that scaled the glass. And I mean, look, it's our first show, and we're talking about the guy that jumped the glass naked in the Saddle Dome. Like that happened 20 years ago.
I know. No, but I think what was really funny even about the photo is that like whoever the photographer was super strategic.
Yeah, I got the like covered
right there.
Yeah.
His decency was covered in that photo, but I'm sure the entire dome got just an eye full.
Yeah. Look at this going already. No, this is great. But like you mentioned before, we want to get different personalities on this show. People that might have a little bit of a Flames tie, but not really. Like you're from the music community. I'm from the hockey community, and that's what we're
weirdly
trying to,
these worlds have collided.
We have, we are, like I think over the next couple of weeks, the next couple of shows, we're definitely going to do a little bit more deep dive on ourselves. And people will know who we are and what's going on, and we've crossed paths before and then split off. We've done stuff at Ranchlands, we've done stuff at the Saddle Dome, we've done a lot of stuff. So now it's finally time for us to cross paths. And like I said, when I came up with an idea to do a different kind of show, like I said, I'm not looking for a pat on the back or anything like that, but I identified early on that FlamesNation doesn't have any females. Like we have some writers, we've had some contributors, stuff like that, but we're not featuring any females. And not that it's a bad thing. I'm not mad at it. That bugged me a little bit that we don't have a female presence in there. And you can't just go out and just be like, oh yeah, I'm going to take you, the first girl off the street. You're going to come do stuff for FlamesNation. There's got to be a purpose, and there's got to be some weight behind it. So that's why I was like, I identified you right away. I was like, yeah, I did. No, like I said, I think I approached you on this maybe December, and we're sitting here in February right now. But I thought about this a long time ago, like months and months before.
My little heart just exploded. Thank you. No, I'm really excited to be a part of this, because whether, in my experience, whether it's been in the music industry or in sports, just entertainment as a whole, it's a male dominated world, and I feel blessed and honored to be a part of it. But also I want to be a voice for all the ladies, because there's a lot of incredible women in entertainment as a whole, and I think that we're badass and funny and have a lot to contribute. So
it's great. Like even like we kept it pretty tight-lipped on what Citizens was going to be, but the people that I did tell, they were like, really, like you're gonna do a podcast, you're gonna do a co-host, your co-host is gonna be the Anthem Singer, the Flames, a female? Like what do you it's something that I want to try out there, because there's so many, I don't know if I want to call them like generic Flames podcasts that they all just want to break down the game and do this and that. Like this is a little bit of a, I don't want to give them too much credit. The Oilers Nation guys, they do a podcast called ON Real Life. And that's kind of where I got the idea from, where these guys, they have a podcast where there's a bunch of them. I think there's 3 or 4 of them that do it. Don't know your names. I don't want to know your names, but I do know
your ideas, but we don't want to know your names.
they sprinkle in some Oilers talk, but they also talk a lot about life, and they talk a lot about the TV shows that they're watching and what's going on in Edmonton. And they'll sprinkle in a guest here and there, and that's kind of why I was like, I think that there's a really good fit for this, and I just wanted to make sure I found the right person. And I think I have. I think I have.
No, honestly, like it's hard. Like in my own personal career outside of working with the Flames and the Wranglers, I'm able to really show my personality through my performance, through stage banter. But a lot of you guys probably just know me as the girl who sings for max 3 minutes before the game. And I'm the girl who's there when George cannot be there. And I'm excited to for you guys to get to know me, and for me to get to know all of you. And it's going to be really fun. Like I don't know. I have a feeling we're onto something really good here, and we've got a lot of ideas, and we hope that everybody is on board with us.
Well, like I said, we're getting the hardest part out of the way.
Yeah.
The hardest part is always the introduction
The
podcast.
small talk.
It
on
is
the
a
first
small
date,
talk.
It's like,
Yeah,
"Ugh."
exactly. That's always the hardest part on introducing a podcast, because we're not really diving into anything crazy right now.
Mhm.
I mean, we had the guys on the morning show talking about it. There's a crazy Flames game last night. They were, I don't know if you saw.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I saw.
Oh yeah, because I guess you were with us last night. We were
Yeah.
doing some dry runs and some technical stuff, and like
Yeah.
the minute you left, they just started fighting.
Oh,
each
I know.
other.
So when I got home, I turned on the TV and I was like, okay, that escalated real quickly. We got us a spicy little game here.
Yeah, exactly. And like that's like me, and I was here at the Wolverine at the studio, and we were watching it, and I was like, I was gonna duck home, and I was like, I can't, like I gotta stay here
Yeah.
and watch this. So it was, we like our boys doing that, and a little fire, a little spice. It gives us always something good to talk about.
Totally.
I guess in that aspect, like as someone who's, I guess, like you've been around the team quite a bit, I'm just gonna dive right into it. We talked a little bit in the summer here and there, like, well, we're not going to talk about this podcast, but our interaction last spring at the Saddledome it's a very funny one, but
that's saved for a different episode.
Yeah, we'll save that for another one, so we can do a really deep dive into that. But the Flames team just completely turned over. Like it's the most craziest thing I've ever seen. I've been a Flames fan I'm 32 years old. I've been a Flames fan since I was born. That is the most craziest thing I've ever seen. Like, what I want to get your thoughts on that. Like what was it like on your end? You're singing the anthem at playoff games. You're seeing that. Like, were you at any of the Dallas game 7?
Let me
Or
think.
the overtime one?
Remember. No, I wasn't at any of the overtime ones, because I think I would have had a heart attack and dropped dead on the floor.
Yeah.
Sometimes, honestly, especially when it comes to playoffs, I'll have to literally turn off the TV, because
Really?
I can't watch. I would rather just know when it's over. I don't know. Maybe it's a girl thing. Maybe it's like an anxiety thing. But for me, like being a part of playoffs and feeling the energy in the room, like you know it's going to be good hockey, regardless of if we win or lose. Like take last night as an example. It's like, whoever was watching the game, attending the game, that's some good hockey.
Yeah.
They got their money's worth.
Exactly.
And it's fiery and it's exciting and explosive. And I don't know. I think with playoffs, it's clearly no different.
Right.
And for me, my level of like interaction with players and stuff is very, very minimal. I think honestly, actually, no, the first player interaction that I had was this year.
Really?
After me being at the Dome doing what I do for the past 5 years, Ooodle held the door for me.
Really?
One day when I was like walking into the building, I was like, thanks, man. Like that was about it. But it's interesting just to feel the vibe in the Dome as you're walking in, as you see the players warming up. Because like I said, when I walk in, I'm all the guys, both teams are at kind of opposite ends of the underbelly of the Saddledome, and they're kicking around a soccer ball, and like they're either super like wound up and like rowdy, or they're like really serious.
Sure.
And you can feel that during playoffs. You're like, okay,
oh yeah.
We're not messing around today.
Wow, that was kind of where I was going with this question. Like the vibe in the playoffs was so amazing, and like I knew you were doing some anthem singing for the Oilers and like the Oilers games and stuff like that, and then just to go from that to what happened in the summertime. Like for me working at FlamesNation, like as soon as the season kind of ended, like we kind of knew this was coming. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm not gonna get any time off in the summertime, because like it just never ended. Like it was one domino after the other of guys leaving, and then people are talking about, wow, it's the city of Calgary, they don't want to be here, this and that kind of stuff. Like,
hey, Calgary's awesome, so
I know, they
can leave if they want to. Bye.
Yeah, I just wanted to get what was your thought on going from that energy in the Saddledome as the anthem singer, watching these guys. Johnny Gaudreau scores the Game 7 overtime winner. We go to Edmonton. We're not going to talk about that. And then it goes into the summer, and then we just kind of just go.
Like summer was such a weird feeling. I didn't know how to feel about it, because you want to look at these players as individuals with lives. They're human beings with families and friends, and we don't realize the toll that it has on somebody's personal life, right? To be able to, you're following your dream, you're in the NHL, you're doing the thing, but like there are so many sacrifices that need to be made to do that, whether you're a player or a family member, a friend of that player too, right? So for me, I had a hard time kind of coming into terms of how I felt about it, because I was torn in the middle to be like, you know what? Like, I love Johnny.
Mhm.
I think he's phenomenal. And as a Calgarian, I felt a little hurt.
Yeah,
But
that's a good way to
he's a
put it.
human
Yeah.
being.
That's a good way to
Like,
put it. Yeah. Yeah, as a Calgarian, sure, but like if you put aside all that kind of stuff
yeah.
and you kind of realize like why he did it. Like it's hard. I was at the game when he came back to Columbus and they
Mhm.
booed the fucking shit out of him.
Yeah. I know. Honestly, like I wasn't at that game, but I I was at the game when
Oh
Chucky
yeah.
came back.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad apparently.
No, it
Wasn't as bad.
wasn't.
Still got booed, but
He still got booed
yeah.
slightly.
Mhm.
But I do think that Johnny leaving was a bit more of a slap in the face. He would like, I mean, Matthew Tkachuk is our guy, but Johnny was our fucking guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's
No,
our
I know.
guy.
Yeah.
So I can see how, like, as Calgarians, you're really personally attached to the decisions of these players and of these teams. So
Yeah.
it's like a bit of a breakup.
Yeah, no, it is. But you're right. Like, and it kind of relating it to more of like our style of show. Like we're talking about the lifestyle aspect, stuff like that too. Like
Mhm.
I can't say that I've ever been involved in like decisions like that rely on millions and millions of dollars on the table and stuff like that. But yeah, I've had a few tough decisions before where
Yeah.
I've had to decide like, is this the best thing for my career? Like, is this going to affect my wife? Is this going to affect my kids? Like, is this where I live? Like, I'll tell you right now, I live in Airdrie right now. I didn't ever think that we'd be having a studio in Marda
I
Loop.
know.
So,
And I'm like on an
yeah.
acreage in Okotoks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, what
So,
what is this?
but you roll with it. And for me too, it was a crazy time. Like I said, just knowing all this stuff was going to happen, knowing that we had to just work right through the summer. We were doing podcasts like crazy.
Mhm.
Like when Matthew Tkachuk got traded, I was drunk at a bar.
So you were probably really emotional then.
Oh, like, and the weird thing is too, it was like, no, like I was in Strathmore because my parents live out in Strathmore. Like we're in Calgary right now. My parents
Mhm.
live out in Strathmore. So I was just at a bar in Strathmore. It was pretty quiet. And then like I saw the news pop up and like nobody said anything. It was full. And I'm like looking around, like nobody said this,
Yeah.
checking their phones and realizing this stuff.
Yeah.
So I was just doing the social media at the time. Ryan Pike like texted me like, you gotta go on Instagram live. So I'm like trying to go on live in the bar.
From Strathmore, like
Oh,
just
yeah,
crying,
like,
crying into your beer.
It's too loud in the bar. Like, even though it was, it wasn't too crazy, it was too loud. So I ran outside and then it was pouring rain. So I like had to seek shelter in under like a bank drive-through. So I'm like going on Instagram live, like trying to get reactions from all these fans because the return was so big. And with my background, we'll dive into it. Anybody knows that who I am. They know that I also do the Missing Curfew podcast. I'm a huge fan of Mackenzie Weegar. Mackenzie Weegar is my guy. I've been covering that guy for years now. And I knew who he was before that. Like a lot of people didn't know who he was.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh my God, we got Weegsy, baby. So I'm freaking out. I'm
Yeah.
texting Shane O'Brien. He's texting me, like, you guys got fucking Weegsy, baby. I'm freaking out. But then it kind of settles in like, oh God, we lost Matthew Tkachuk. Like it was tough. And then just knowing that ahead, and then it was like, I couldn't even breathe because we're like, oh, we got these players, but they're not signed. So I'm like, oh my God. So now we got to debate for the next month that they're going to sign. They eventually signed. And here we are now. So
yeah, honestly, that does sound like a bit of a rom-com situation.
Yeah,
in the rain, I have to take shelter.
I know.
I'm crying about Chucky.
I wish I could find it in the archives of. I'm sure I could, but yeah,
probably
I'm
could.
screaming and swearing and trying to get fans' reactions. And
Yeah.
people were indifferent to it, but yeah, like that's why we just dove into Flames talk there for 10-15 minutes here, and we got
go.
Yeah, there you go. Like,
Oh.
I kind of like put you on the spot right away. I'm like, let's test this girl out. Let's
not talk about stats or anything.
No,
like
no.
let's I need to dip my toe.
Well, how many points did Matthew Tkachuk get last year? No, I'm not kidding.
Nope, we're not even going there.
I would have just over 100, but we're citizens. That's kind of the name behind it. Is citizens. Is we want to try to reach out to anybody out there. Like you've had a lot of people, I guess that could come on the show. There's a lot of personalities on social media. There's a lot of reporters. There's a lot of radio jockeys. There's people in the city of Calgary. I've told a lot of my friends that I'm doing this, didn't tell them who I was doing it with, what it was about, but I've got tons of people that reach out. Like, I just want to come on and tell my story about, what I've done in the city of Calgary, how I've, overcome this and that, what my thoughts are on the Flames. So it'll be, you will have a lot of guests on there. We'll put it out there right now that if you want to come on and you've got a story, just reach out to us anytime. We'll get that.
We're friendly, we'll pick it up. It'll be fun.
Like I said, I don't want to dive into it too crazy. Like I can't wait for even next week, because we're gonna dive into you. And we're gonna find out how the hell did you become an anthem singer for the Calgary Flames? You're doing the Calgary Wranglers now. Yeah. Your story about gigs and Country Thunder and Stampede and all kinds of that crazy stuff.
I got stories, man. I really do.
Yeah, and then we'll flip-flop the week after that, and you can quiz me on all my crazy antics and how I ended up with FlamesNation and how I ended up producing an NHL podcast for two guys out of California. Like it's crazy, but I'm glad that you're here. Like I said, I don't want to just sugarcoat everything and say that, oh yeah, look at me, pat me on the back. I wanted a female. But when I pitched the idea to some of the higher ups, to Mike and Jay and the Wolverine, not one person was like, oh, absolutely not. Everyone was like, wow, that's an amazing idea. And then they go and check out your profile and they're like, go get her now. So I was like, I think
because I'm a literal crazy person online. So.
Yeah. And I might even throw him on the spot here right now, because there is a third person in the room right now, but we don't want to reveal anything on camera, because he gets introduced as the Wolverine. The Wolverine's actually sitting in the room right now. We do have a producer, and he's sitting in the room right now.
Hey guys, I am now a producer, and I'm pretty happy about my life.
See, it's kind of, there's a lot of personalities in the nation that kind of like to hide their faces. As much as I want to get him out there, we're going to keep a little quiet. He's got his voice in there, but
he's still a star in his own right.
He's the reason that why a lot of this stuff is happening, and why we have the Ooodle Noodle studios that we're in right now, 17th Ave, 12th Street. Hit it up. It's amazing. Jay took us there. We're going to go do some stuff there with those guys. It's also one in Airdrie as well too. Ooodle Noodle, fantastic. So he's the reason that there's stuff here like that for us. But like I said, when I went and pitched the idea, I remember he was like, yeah, no, that's cool. And they went and like checked out your brother. He's like, go get her now.
Yeah, no, it's literally, because like I said, I'm a nut online.
And then it was even, I think we were just, I actually think it might have even been the day that we went to Ooodle Noodle, and then we ended up at Jameson's, and then he poked me and he was like, hey, have you messaged Michela yet? And I was like, I forgot. And then
you were very cryptic for a long time. I have this idea, and I'm like, oh,
I know. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if you're going to be receptive to it or not. Like, you're probably thinking, oh, this guy wants to do a hockey podcast. Like, what's that all about? But we're here now, and we're doing it. Like I told you yesterday, like when I first got brought on for FlamesNation, I made sure that there was people in the Flames community that like I wanted to make sure that to let them know that like FlamesNation supports you. And I think you probably found that out pretty quick, because there's certain people that I was like, okay, we're not even following them. Follow them, and now start sharing your stuff, because anthem singers, photographers, you name it, like radio jockeys, beat writers, reporters, all that kind of stuff. Just kind of let them know that like we're a big community, we're a family. Like, show us support. We're like, a little tire pump. I know FlamesNation, it's the biggest Flames brand outside of the Flames. There's no one bigger than us. So
let's go. No,
I will. Yeah, Wolverine's giving me the tire pumps now.
Well, the thing is like when I will openly admit, when I first visually saw FlamesNation on Instagram, I was like, what is this? And then our kind of online relationship developed, and tagging each other in things and commenting, and I was like, okay, so like these guys actually give a shit. And it's more than just simple hockey stats. It is about the community, like you said. It's about this family that we've created through our love of hockey and entertainment. And I think that the way that we kind of linked this up was really cool and really special. And that's why I am just like jittering with excitement over this, because it's an accumulation of how long have we, probably a year or two of us kind of just back and forth, like running into each other.
I'm almost like, I think I'm a month away from being at FlamesNation for a full year.
Okay.
And obviously on my introduction podcast, we'll introduce how I got involved in FlamesNation. But it's almost been a year. And like I said, they gave me free reign to do whatever on social media right away. So I started poking at you right away. And just knowing that the playoffs were coming up, and like, I know we tried to link up at the Red Lot, and we did end up meeting at the Saddle, and we'll keep them.
Story for another time.
A story for another time. But that was just my thing, is I just wanted to make sure that people that are out there trying to do something with the Flames, because you essentially, you do work for the Flames, but you're trying to put your stuff out there that's Flames related. Like, how can I help you do that? Because at the end of the day, it's also helping us too. Like, I'm not I never like steal your content or anything like that. But I'm like,
Yeah.
I went through your Instagram page and I'm like, I watched, there's a video of you doing the anthem and I was just like, damn. I was like, that's like goosebumps style putting it
Aw.
out there. So I was like, I love that. So like knowing that, because you usually tweet out, I'm doing the anthem tonight. So I would put it
Yeah.
out there on social media, like Michela's doing the anthem tonight. Let's put it out there. And like people, they love it, man. Like they love
Yeah.
to see that kind of stuff.
No, honestly, like, and I do realize that whether you're a player or an anthem singer, like sports is competitive. There's a lot of, especially in my role, it's a lot of superstition around it. So
Mhm.
being an anthem singer, being involved in this can sometimes be really polarizing, as we saw today with the poll that we did.
Yeah.
No, and that's
Yeah.
cool. Like I lost miserably, which is totally fine because everybody has a preference and George is amazing.
Mhm.
But let's get those numbers up, please.
I think it might
let's do
change
it.
now. People are probably wondering why
You're
we
like,
did that.
why are you
Yeah.
posting about these two?
Yeah, well, people are gonna know why now, and we've
Yeah.
teased a little bit, and we're gonna continue to tease it, and we'll drop this when it drops. But that's just like we're all super happy to have you on the team, and like I said, I did some podcasting here with FlamesNation. Some of it worked, some of it didn't work. We've got our spots. We've got Boomer and Pinder and Rhett Warner, and we'll get into the story about how, like, no joke, like Rhett Warner was my favorite player since I was like 10 years old. I haven't told him that yet.
Did you just throw yourself under the bus?
Well,
here?
he's
You're
not like he doesn't even like he I hope he would listen to this, but he's not gonna, unless we make this a social clip and tag. Unless we put it a social clip and tag him in it. Oh, not even. I don't even know if he would.
You're
see that.
blushing.
Yeah,
Printzy.
I am. Like
Aw.
that's not a joke. Like it's my 3-year-old son. His name's Rhett. Like it's not. It's I'm not
Oh my
blowing smoke up
gosh.
anyone's ass. Like all these guys growing up, they all loved Iserman and Sakic and
Yeah.
even a Ginla. And like I'm the odd one that, like, my favorite player growing up was Rhett Warner. Like I liked him when he was in Buffalo, and then he got traded to Calgary, and I was ecstatic about that. And then we'll even get down to it later in the road. When Rhett retired, I moved on to a player named Shane O'Brien, and people are like, why do you like these guys? Like, just because they're hard working, they're glue guys, they're muckers, they're guys that
Yeah.
just show up with their work pail and their hard hat, and they come to work. And I like that kind of guy. And I've always tried to put that into what I'm doing at FlamesNation here. And
Yeah.
you're going to spend a lot more time with us. And you're probably even finding right now that, like, you're texting like me and the Wolverine. You're like, why the fuck aren't these guys answering me?
Oh,
It's
no.
because we're knee deep in, like,
In the thick of it.
yeah, like we got a
Yeah.
lot of shit going on here at FlamesNation. It's all good. It's all good stuff. But
Yeah.
this was one of the things that we really, like, I wanted, like, oh, trust me, like when like the Wolverine was like, what do you do in the show? I'm like, no, you're gonna do it this thing. Like, what do you do? He wanted it out now. And I'm like,
Well, no, this was
Yeah.
a labor of love. Like
Yeah.
we started working on this maybe month and a bit ago.
yeah, I was gonna say it was just after Christmas when
Yeah.
I met you at the studio for the first time. I kind of explained, like, I DM'd you like right before Christmas, and I think after Christmas you met me here, and then we kind of went over it. Like I said, like I could have pitched you this idea, and you could have been like, yeah, no, thank you. But
Mhm.
like that's like it wasn't the back of my mind, but like, okay, I might have to find someone else, and
Yeah.
trying to think about, okay, well, I don't want to just put you in a bad spot and be like, I just want to talk about Flames the whole time. Like,
Yeah.
I want to hear about your music career and stuff, cool stuff that you've done at gigs. We're going to talk about, both of us worked at Ranchman's. We overlapped and worked at Ranchman's.
Oh my gosh, the stories.
I
there.
can't wait for that stories, like those kind of stories. And like I said, we want to get lots of cool people. We're going to get a lot of people that even are within our network. Like if you're listening to Barn Burner with Boomer and Pinder, you're hearing a lot of their insight on the Flames and, sports and NFL and all that kind of stuff, but you might not know who they are.
Mhm.
And it's not the easiest thing for them to just go on their own show and talk about themselves for an hour, but it
Yeah.
would be great to have, you guys can learn about Ryan Pinder, you guys can learn about Boomer, you can learn about Ryan Pike, and there's a lot of cool beat writers, and there's a lot of people that even reached out to me way like a year ago and been like, hey, if you're doing a show, I'd love to come on. So I'm finally glad that we were able to do it now. I
Yeah.
didn't want to rush into anything and
Totally.
put you in a bad spot, but I think we waited and we did it at the right time, and we're just getting up to playoffs here. Hopefully we actually make the fucking
Don't even get me
playoffs.
started. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Wolverine's fucking banging on his table right there. Even though he's Oilers, he's fucking Oilers. He wants us to collide again as much as I do too.
I'm TNN, the
Yeah.
Nation Network.
That's his
Team
favorite.
Alberta? No.
His favorite color is not red or blue, it's green.
Ooh, yeah.
I've heard him say that to me many, many times, but we've got a good crew out here. Just wait. And the other thing too is just wait until we introduce the Tan Man. You've met the Tan Man a couple times.
Yeah,
and
briefly.
You can tell already that he's a character already.
Oh yeah.
He is literally like, I don't think the Tan Man has a bad bone in his body. Like when we hired him, like we just left out and he's like, well, first of all, his name's Tyler Tanner, but we call him the Tan Man because there's how many Tylers do you know? That was the one thing. I know so many Tylers.
I know way too many.
And there's that Tyler Chuckaluck or whatever his name is up in Oilers Nation. So we're like, okay, we're calling him Tyler in email. So we're like, we're just gonna call you the Tan Man. But it was funny because we interviewed him. He knocked his interview out of the park. And the first thing the Wolverine says, I like him. He's got 2 first names. I was
like Ricky Bobby.
This guy's got 2 first names. And I was like, so we call him the Tan Man. He is like, he's one of the backbones of Flames Nation. Like he does so much work for us. And like I said, he's never going to say no to anything. So I can't wait to get the Tan Man on here to tell some stories. Cause him and I, like that's who, like Boomer and Pinder, they come in, they do their show. They go to Merchants with the Wolverine and leave me behind, but
just left in the dust all the time.
Yeah, and then I get to hang with the Tan Man, and he gets to tell me all these cool stories about the jobs he's done. Like he was working on The Last of Us.
Oh
he's an extra for that kind of stuff, and I think he's broken like 9 bones playing beer league and stuff like that. So that's how like
beer league doesn't fuck around. You know?
I got beer league stories too. Unfortunately, I don't play too much anymore. I got kids, and unfortunately, I'm married to Flames Nation aside from my wife too. So I'm constantly doing stuff, and I do my stuff with Mr. Curfew too. But like just he might. You might not know, like obviously you don't know who Tyler Tanner is, but it's people that we want to have on, come on, cool stories. And that's what I've even found podcasting with the NHL podcast, Mr. Curfew. Sometimes you get the guys that are currently playing in the NHL that they come on the show and you don't get much out of them. They don't really say much. And then it's the unknown guys that played 100 games. Yeah, well, they played 100 games in the NHL. They retired a decade ago and you don't remember who they are. And they come on the show and they have the best stories because they just unload on everything.
They're ready to rumble. No, like it's also like I'm excited to bring my flair into this too, right? Like we have the studio, we have the new logo, we have me and my buddy Dennis Han from band Wilder. We worked on our little intro music, which I'm so excited about. I'd love to bring those boys on here and just talk about, they're huge hockey fans. I bring them to games all the time, and lots of personalities, lots of ways to kind of dig really, really, really deep into, pop culture in Calgary, hockey culture. Like it's gonna be wild.
About the intro too. Shout out to Lyle Peterman.
Oh yeah. Oh, what a beauty.
Shout out to Lyle Peterman. That's the funny thing is because Lyle's the PA for the Wranglers, and I'm sure that's how you met. I went to elementary school with Lyle in Olds, Alberta, of anything. And we played hockey. Yeah, Olds. We grew up together. We played hockey together. And then I moved to Red, and we just hadn't really seen or done anything with each other. Like I knew he was doing stuff with like Olds Grizzlies, and then he went to the AHL. And like I followed him on Instagram. I seen him doing stuff. So I was like, Lyle should do our intro. So when you hear the show, that's Lyle Peterman, the voice of the AHL Wranglers. So he came in the other day, he voiced stuff. So shout out Lyle. Appreciate that you've done that for us. Lyle's going to come on the podcast too and tell some Wrangler stories.
Well, we've got our what we like to call our Wranglers wrecking crew. Shout out to all you guys. But a lot of the production crew, we'll get to the dome, we'll do our meetings, and then we'll just kind of hang out a little bit because there's that lull in between, and we're always up to shenanigans, like stuff that HR would not approve of, but it's always a lot of fun. And like I said, the hours of stories that we could tell.
I just want to come follow you around at a Wranglers game one time. Like, do you think they let me do
it's
that?
Fun. Honestly, okay. I'll tell one Wranglers story. So a couple days ago, we had the official Star Wars game for the Wranglers, and we had, I think there was about 15 actors walking around dressed in like movie grade costumes. And it was very impressive, and the nerd inside me was just like exploding from everywhere.
I could do that too. I like Star Wars. I like Star Wars.
Fucking Darth Vader too. This is so cool. This is so fun. But the kids loved it. It was amazing. And then we were all gonna do some sort of a processional onto the ice during intermission. And they were gonna chuck t-shirts and stuff. And I was grabbing a photo with Darth Vader. And keep in mind, like all the approval from these people being here is direct from Lucasfilms. So like right from the big boy from the top. And, you know, the kids are getting into it. They're yelling, they're like chirping Darth Vader, and he clearly can't say anything or
Right.
really even move quickly because he's in a suit. Um, and I'm taking a photo with Darth Vader, and this little kid goes, "Hey, Darth Vader, how do you like your water?" And the kid chucks his full water bottle on
What
Darth
the
Vader's head.
fuck? Really?
And I went instant, like, I won't say Karen, but like instant, like
Mom mode?
a mom mode,
Yeah.
like a, you pissed me off. And I was like, who raised this child? Because this is a respected figure, whether
Right.
he's from the dark side or not. No, but it was funny because, you know, I've got really great relationships with everybody from the ice crew to the security. And so we were all just like on a hunt to find this kid.
Yeah.
And he was like part of another hockey team because at these games, there's
right.
tons of teams that come through, and it's a really great experience for them. But gave the old finger wag to the coach. I was like, you better find number 10 because I'm coming after him.
Well, I was gonna say, like, when you tell me that, my thought goes like, I'm a parent. I've got 2 kids. I got a 3-year-old and a 1.5-year-old. I'm assuming this kid was a lot older than a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, like, what would I do if my kid did that? I'm thinking like, what would the fucking Wolverine do if his kid did that?
Laying down the law.
He's not on camera, but just
He would not do that.
we don't promote child abuse here.
He would not do that. Yeah, that's just one little thing. Like, I'm sure you experienced a lot of stuff. I don't. Have you been on the catwalk?
Oh, I go on the catwalk all the time, and I like lose my mind
Oh,
because like I'm not afraid of heights.
Yeah.
But when I'm up there, I'll have like my phone and whatever my stuff is, and I like hold it really, really tight. Because can you imagine, like, I'm walking over top during like warm-ups or whatever, and you drop your phone?
Oh no, I've been on the catwalk, and I during school I used to be a cameraman for the Calgary Hitmen.
Yeah.
And my job was nosebleed cam. So I'd be like way up on the catwalk, and my only job was to get offsides and too many men calls because you get the wide shot like that. So I'm like, my camera's leaning over the edge, and I'm constantly checking to see if it's locked. Even though it is, it's almost like you know what you do when you set your alarm in the morning. You check it 10 times, even though you know it's there. I'm constantly grabbing it because I'm thinking to myself, this camera that's probably 50 pounds like slides off.
Yeah,
someone's dead.
It's terrifying. Like, a lot of people who I've brought up there too are like, oh yeah, I'm fine, heights, whatever. And then they're like, wait, this is a little different because it's like, it is very sturdy up there, but at the same time you feel vulnerable,
right?
Because it's just, you know, it's like a plank of wood.
Yeah.
And you walk over top of the Jumbotron and it's like, wow, this is nuts, right? So no, I love the catwalk. It's my favorite thing to bring friends up there.
Yeah, when we'll get the listener questions going about Saddle Dome stories, and like we'll do our deep dive on the Saddle Dome because I had a good chuckle about because I think Pinder took the Wolverine to a game when he first got set up here, and he was like ecstatic that there's a fucking bathroom up in the PLs. Like he's like, man, you can get up this bathroom.
You can take a piss in the sky. That's what you can do.
And you could just like walk up the stairs, and it's right there. So, you know, let's put a wrap on this thing. I think we've kind of blabbed on a little bit, but people get the idea. If you listen to the show, you kind of get the idea that we're going to talk Flames. We're going to talk about life. We're going to talk about everything. We held back on a lot of stories today because it's the first one. Like I said, we could have done a 2-hour podcast and just unloaded on everything. We need a little content. We need a schedule here. We got to get some stuff figured out. You're busy. I'm busy. We got to figure this stuff out. I'm excited. That's like, it's hard to put into words right now. I'm excited. You know, I sit here and I get to watch Barn Burner and watch all these other shows. And I was doing some shows before, and I want to get right back into it. But I'm glad we get to do this in person because it's not quite the same. We're doing stuff for Zoom. Obviously, we're going to get some Zoom guests on here. We've beaten
the Zoom thing to death. Like, I'm ready to hang out. I'm ready to, shoot the shit.
It's a different vibe. And, you know, the more we get doing this, the more you can come hang out in the studio with Wolverine and meet some of our, you know, the show hosts and our partners. And, you know, just wait till you meet like Serge from Tower Chrysler. This guy's an absolute weapon. Like, I know we're cross promoting some stuff on shows here, but Serge is a good part of ours. He runs Tower Chrysler. We took him up to Jasper. You're going to meet a lot of cool people with Flames Nation. Totally. And last little shout out. Ooodle Noodle Studios. We don't get this without Ooodle Noodle. So Ooodle Noodle, 17th Ave, 12th Street. We're going to take you there. We'll do a little content, have some fun with it. It's good stuff. Shout out Jay.
Yep.
I believe he's going to be here this week, so he's going to check out the Ooodle Noodle Studios. But any last thoughts? Like, what's on your mind? Like, what's the last thought for you?
I'm just very blessed to be here, and I'm very excited to get to know Flames Nation, not only the inner workings, but all of you guys a lot better. And I want to know what you think. I want to know what you want to hear. If you've always wanted to know about certain inner workings of games, whether it's, you know, pre-game stuff, post-game stuff, you know, where the hockey wives go when they're going.
I know where they go.
Oh, I know you know where they go. Yeah, they go hang out with Printzy. No, I want to know what you guys are excited for too. And I think that this is the beginning of something really amazing and really cool. And if we're, you know, if I'm at a game, if Printzy's at a game, if we're there together, come say hi. It's gonna be a blast. And I hope you guys enjoy this crazy ass ride.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'll leave it on this. The show is going to be podcasted, Apple and Spotify, Flames Nation Citizens. That's all you got to look up. There's a lot of different Flames Nation stuff on there. Barn Burner, Afterburner, Flames Nation Radio, but it's Flames Nation Citizens, available on Apple, Spotify, Google, all that kind of stuff. We are going to live on the Flames Nation YouTube channel. We are very blessed that we have our own YouTube channel right now, which is growing amazingly. It's doing really, really well. We'll have a little separate, I guess, tab or playlist or whatever for all of our stuff's going to be on there too. You're going to start helping us out with some social media stuff too, which is awesome. My TikTok game is just terrible.
We're gonna get that up there too.
I know. So
that being said, follow us on everything.
Flames Nation or flamesnation.ca. All you got to do is type in Flames Nation. Everything's gonna pop up there. Yep. So we're usually gonna do the show once a week for now. We'll see how the things go. We're gonna add some guests in the rotation, get ourselves introduced. The Wolverine's always gonna be sitting in with us if he's gonna chime in, if he's got funny stories about, you know, him turning fucking wine into water up at Jasper. And so,
you have Jasper stories too, though.
I know. I have the video that might end up on TikTok. So we'll see here. But anyways, we're going to call you guys citizens too. So citizens, thanks for tuning in for the first intro episode, whatever you want to call it, pilot. We're glad that you're here. We've been kind of stewing over this for weeks. I know you were a little nervous. I could tell. I was like a little bit, but again, you asked me at the start of the show. I'm like, I know, I'm not too nervous. So.
Okay. Yeah. You're too cool for this, eh? You said to me, I did a podcast with Wayne Gretzky. I'm fine. I'm like, okay.
I don't want to humble brag, but if we, you know, all the podcasts that I've done with some of these NHL players, it's a long list. So, you know, I was a little nervous to do one with you, but not, we got through it. So we're good.
I could be a bit spicy. So watch out.
Yeah. That's what Lyle did tell me that when he came in and recorded. She's a little sassy at times. So
I got an attitude on me for sure.
So anyways, citizens, like, subscribe, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. This has been our first episode of Flames Nation Citizens.
Yeah. It's been a blast. See you soon.